Welcome to the Minnesota PRSA Conversations. I'm Margaret Ann Hennon, a member of the PRSA College of Fellows and a member of Minnesota PRSA. With me today is Marsha Pitts-Phillips, APR. Marsha is Minnesota PRSA's 2024 president. She is also the president and founder of MRPP and Associates, and she is a communications industry Inclusion Fellow at the Hubbard School. Marsha will share with us today an important case study illustrating some of her insights into ethical public relations and the ethical practice also of leadership. Marsha?
Thank you very much, Margaret Ann. I have a couple of situations that I would like to share, that lessons that turned out to be very valuable to me. One was a situation that occurred several years ago, and while this situation must remain confidential, there are still key takeaways and lessons that I believe that all of you who are watching or listening can benefit from. And I'm going to call it applying the PRSA Code of Ethics and listening to gut instinct, because that's what helped me navigate this challenging situation. When we as practitioners are in an environment or witness a situation that we know can greatly impact an organization, a company, academic institution, regardless of what it is, and we know that we must act on it, I believe it is important to follow the process. And that's what I did in this situation. It was a situation that bothered me deeply, that I knew was not right. And it was, even though I spoke with others about it, I knew that I must take steps and provide counsel. I went to the PRSA Code of Ethics. I studied it. I looked at each of the elements of our Code of Ethics. And it is because I leaned very heavily on that process that I felt comfortable to move forward with taking the steps to address this particular situation. It took a little bit of time to ultimately be resolved, but I think that if we, as public relations practitioners, we don't allow fear to get in our way, and if we act courageously, and I know that can sound very simple and it can be easier said than done, but there will also be a sense of relief in knowing that we have our personal integrity, that we have gained further trust from executive leadership, directors, the organization, other critical stakeholders that may be involved in being impacted. Then we know we have done the right thing, because the process that is in place for the PRSA Code of Ethics, I want to remind you all that it works, and it can be our North Star, if you may, and our roadmap to ultimately arriving at a resolution in a situation, and affirming or reaffirming that we have taken the right steps.
Marsha, have you found that in later parts of your career that early experience helped you establish a base of approaching difficult situations that you might face or that your organization might face?
The lessons that were learned from that experience really did help me in terms of whether there were smaller, challenging situations or big, really large. When we think about our learning process, when we think about RPI, and well, the research, planning, implementation, and evaluation, and how that is integrated. And it is such an integral part of our code of ethics. And they, for me, serve as building blocks. And I think it will help. Well, it helped me anyway to begin to act more on instinct and to know that, yes, this is how to apply the code of ethics. Other times, and I generally keep the code of ethics, the booklet, right next to me on my desk, because I think that we all encounter uh, challenging ethical situations on a regular basis. I do not want anyone who's watching or listening this to think that I am uh, simplifying the really challenging global, national, government level, large academic institutions, small academic institutions, large nonprofit educational institutions, regardless, that I'm minimizing any of this, because it can, being in really challenging situations, it can cause internal angst. However, I think that there is also a sense of relief that occurs once we implement that process, our code of ethics process. And I've continued to do so in my daily practice of my business of running MRPP and Associates Communications and working with the students at the Hubbard School, and also how to navigate my leadership as president of one of the largest PRSA chapters. That code of ethics, it's really critical to how I proceed, how I interact with the board, how I interact with our large membership, how I interact with the students, and then simply being in placement as a leader of this organization within the broader PRSA community.
Well, thank you, Marsha, for sharing your insights and your perceptions with our audience this morning. And I appreciate you taking the time from your busy schedule to talk with me. Have a great rest of the day.
Thank you very much, Margaret, and I appreciate the opportunity to do so.